You see the train roll by, and up in the cab, behind the glass, there is a person. One human being sitting there guiding thousands of tons of steel down the line. And you have probably wondered, if only for a second, what does that person actually do all day? Because a train has no steering wheel to turn. It cannot leave its lane. It just follows the track. So what is there to do for 12 straight hours in that seat? Surely you just push a lever forward and watch the world go by. It could not be more different from that. The person in that cab is doing one of the most mentally punishing jobs in transportation, and the strange, lonely, demanding shape of their day is something almost no one on the outside ever sees. So, let us climb into the cab and go through it hour by hour. Before we get into it, hit subscribe and drop a comment, letting us know where you're watching from. We want to know who's out there. It starts before the train. It starts with a phone call. Most freight engineers do not work a shift with a start time you could write on a calendar. They work on call. Their name sits on a list, and when they get near the top of that list, the phone rings and a computerized voice or a crew caller tells them to be at work, often in about 90 minutes. That call can come at any hour. 3 in the afternoon, 2 in the morning. Their body never knows from one day to the next when it will be asked to go to work and stay sharp for half a day. One veteran engineer, a woman named Ellen, who spent over 30 years on the railroad, put it simply, "The phone rings and I have 90 minutes to get to work." That is the life. You are always, in a sense, waiting for the phone. So the call comes, and the engineer gets to the terminal, and before the train moves an inch, the real work begins. They check the computer for updates and bulletins, notices about track work, slow orders, anything that has changed on the railroad since yesterday. They sit down with their conductor and go over the paperwork for the train, what it is carrying, how long it is, how heavy, where it is going. They do a job briefing together, making sure both of them understand the plan. Then they walk out to the locomotives and look them over, checking the fuel, the sand, the oil, the brakes, making sure the machine that is about to haul them across the division is fit to run. Only then, after all of that, do they climb up, settle into the seat, release the brakes, and start to move. And now the part that looks like nothing and is actually everything: the driving. Here is the first thing to understand. A train does not drive like a car, where you react to what you see in front of you. A train is far too heavy and far too long to react to anything. A loaded freight train can take a mile or more to stop, so the engineer cannot simply respond to what is ahead. They have to know what is ahead, long before they can see it, and they have to act on it long before they arrive. And that means the single most important thing an engineer carries is not in the cab at all. It is in their head. It is called territory knowledge. An engineer is only allowed to run over a section of railroad they have learned intimately, and they have to be rechecked on it every year. They have to know their territory the way you know the walk from your bedroom to your kitchen in the dark. Every hill, every curve, every bridge, every road crossing, every signal, every switch, every place the speed limit changes, and there are many. A long train can be climbing one hill while its rear is still going down another, and the engineer has to feel that in advance, know it is coming, and set the power and the brakes for a piece of track that is still a mile away. They are not driving the train that is under them. They are driving the train that will exist a minute and a half from now. This is why the job is so mentally exhausting. For the entire trip, the engineer is running a constant calculation. Speed, weight, length, grade, signals, the slack running in and out between the cars. They are managing that slack with enormous care, because a long train is not a solid object. It is a chain of cars with play in every coupling, and if the engineer is clumsy with the throttle or the brake, that slack can run in or out with a violent bang, damaging freight or even pulling the train apart. Smooth train handling, the mark of a good engineer, is a genuine art learned over years. To a passenger, it would just feel like the train moving. To the engineer, it is a continuous, delicate negotiation with physics. And they are doing all of this while watching, always watching, reading every signal along the line and calling it out, watching the track ahead for anything on it, a car stalled on a crossing, a person, an animal, a tree limb down. Watching the gauges, the air pressure, the amperage, the speed. Talking to the dispatcher on the radio who controls which trains go where. Listening to the radio traffic of other trains around them. For hour after hour, there is no autopilot, no cruise control, no moment where they can truly switch off. The scenery may look peaceful from outside. Inside, the mind never stops. Then there is the enemy that stalks this entire job: fatigue. Because the hours are so irregular and the calls come at all times of the night, engineers fight a constant war with their own body clock. Study after study, and the drivers themselves, point to the small hours of the morning as the hardest. That same veteran engineer said the worst time for her was between 3 and 5:30 in the morning, when the body most wants to sleep and the train still demands every ounce of attention. Alone in a dark cab, in the dead of night, with the rails clicking under you, staying fully alert is a discipline all its own. And hanging over the whole shift is the clock. Not the clock on the wall, a federal law. It is called the Hours of Service Law, and it says an engineer may work no more than 12 consecutive hours. 12 hours, and then they must, by law, stop and be given at least 10 hours off. This sounds like protection, and it is, but it creates one of the strangest features of the whole job. Because a freight train does not care about the 12-hour limit. If the engineer's 12 hours run out while they are in the middle of nowhere, miles from any terminal, the train simply stops. The crew has, in railroad slang, died on the law or gone dead. They are not allowed to move the train another foot. They pull to a stop, secure the train, and wait, sometimes for hours, for a van to drive out along some country road, pick them up, and carry them to rest, while a fresh crew is sent to take the train the rest of the way. And very often, that rest is not at home. On a long run, the engineer finishes their 12 hours at the far end of their district in a distant town and checks into a crew hotel the railroad pays for to sleep before working a train back the other way. They live a life of 2 homes, their real one, and a rotating series of lodgings at the away terminal, sleeping in a strange bed during the day so they can work through the coming night. So when you add it all up, what does a train driver actually do for 12 hours? They answer a call that comes at any hour. They inspect and plan before they ever move. And then, for up to 12 hours straight, they hold an entire section of railroad in their memory, feel a mile of shifting steel through the seat of their chair, read every signal, watch every crossing, fight their own exhaustion, and manage the invisible forces inside the train with a soft and practiced hand, all so that the whole thing arrives smoothly, safely, and in one piece. The next time you see that figure behind the glass and think they are just along for the ride, look again. They are not watching the world go by. They are, quietly and completely alone, thinking miles ahead of a machine that can never stop in time, for 12 hours in the dark, so that everything behind them stays on the rails.